Welcome back, everyone, to the second half, Fractured Orders. Glad you all could be here. 2 more hours to go. Part 3 and Part 4 coming right up. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and turn on Discord. Hello.
Hello.
Fantastic. So, when we just left off just briefly moments ago, you all had entered the casino and were on mission to request an audience with Lucia Janice. So I pulled up this image just to give everybody kind of that atmospheric feel of what the inside looks like. It's not obviously 100% accurate, but you get the idea.
Visual presentation.
You get the idea. So, as everybody's kind of stated, the goal is to be as kind of efficient as possible in getting this done, so you don't have to be here any longer than is need be.
Dash has gotten a drink.
So I think that if you want to do that, the goal is finding the right person to talk to, right? Like, obviously, there's like the people who are working at the bar. There's people who are working at the dice tables. There's people that are working at the Pazak tables upstairs. There's the people who are serving food and drink. There's obviously some like guards around, right? Like there's some guards guarding entrances or stuff like that. But really, there's no like clear sign of like who to go talk to about this. This is kind of the part where you guys might need to figure out what you need to do next in order to proceed with the mission.
I actually have a question. Jax, what kind of, not Jax, Milan, what kind of caliber blaster?
Just a standard blaster. It's just a standard blaster pistol.
Not light, standard.
Standard, yeah. 6 damage, 3 crit, 1 encumbrance.
Is it a specific model, or?
Just a blast. I was never told. It doesn't really matter.
Never mind, okay. I'll just imagine one. Carry on.
Okay. So what's the next step in the plan? Because this is the part where the play doesn't survive contact with the enemy, right? Like this is the part of the mission that you guys have to kind of figure out yourselves now that you're here.
So I would like to make, I don't know if it would be a streetwise or a underworld check, just to see if I notice anyone from, because I used to, when I was with Arcanus, I used to come through Corellia a decent amount of time. So like there might be people here who I could recognize, especially if they're non-Arcanus, because right now with Arcanus it's I'm a bit more keeping my distance at this stage. But if there's like maybe a local fence or someone who I would know who might be able to give me information, or know who to talk to try and get a audience with the Janice lady.
That sounds great. Let's see. What would probably yeah, I think this is a streetwise check, like you said. I don't think it's necessarily like perception. It's not like finding the person. It's really like knowing which person to talk to, because you can find all types of people in here.
Yeah.
So why don't you make me a streetwise check? I'm gonna make it hard. Just because you've never been to the specific location, perhaps.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make it a hard check for you. Whenever you're ready, I've got the hard in there.
How much do we? No, I'm not gonna use a light side point.
We have 7 light side points.
Have a ridiculous amount. You should just use it.
Really? All right. I'll use a light side point.
Probably smart. You guys have a retarded amount of light side points.
Yeah. Silly.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that threat. I'm gonna hold on to that.
I hate when you do that. Because it makes me excited.
So, you succeed. So you're looking for someone here that you might have contact with, or might have dealt with before, a local fence or something of that nature. Now, so you know that Arcanus generally Arcanists generally are drug smugglers. Like, that's just kind of what they do. So I think that you probably recognize the telltale signs of, like, somebody not necessarily dealing, but, like, someone looking for contacts outside. There's probably a name for they probably call it a wrangler, right, in the biz. Someone who goes to an area where they couldn't bring drugs and tells people where to go get drugs, right? Like, that's the type of person that
a marketing executive.
Sure, yeah. If you were to put it on your resume, it would say marketing executive. Yes, absolutely.
For drugs.
Exactly. Yep. So give me 1 second, because I wanna make sure we get your So this is you know what? It's probably I'm looking for the it's probably a Gran, actually. That you see, and those are the guys with kind of like the horse faces and 3 eyes. Yeah, the 3 stalk eyes on their heads. But you recognize the telltale signs of the individual kind of just like sitting there. You can see him like having a conversation with somebody at the bar, and then like he goes up to the bar, he talks to some people, but then he doesn't get a drink, right? And then he goes to like a slot machine and like congratulates somebody on winning and like shakes their hand, but like doesn't sit down and play slots. And then you can see he's kind of like social butterflying around the room. I don't think you recognize. I think a triumph would have been you recognize this guy specifically. I think that you just recognize the type of individual this is, with the success that you received. But it is definitely someone who would be like willing to perhaps part with some information. He might have to loosen his lips, but he definitely is a broker in that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
So do you want to like approach him?
Yeah. I'll approach him. Is any of the crew like around me at this point, or have we all?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I guess that's a good question. Did like I know Dash like went to go get a drink. I guess we should ask the other 3 as well. Like Zian, what did you do? Are you like sticking with Dash? Are you like
I'm
gonna go social engineer your way into another conversation?
I'm looking for the. How do I describe it? I'm looking for somebody that is obviously like casino staff that looks like they have access to a comm link or some sort of intercom or something, and also seems to be fidgety, that maybe is a little bored, that isn't the best at what they're doing.
Okay. Alright, so you're trying to
trying to find somebody with a low discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. Try and find somebody with that's not none too smart. Fantastic. So
discipline and smarts are different.
True. None too wise, then perhaps.
Yeah.
Cool. So what about Kin and Mouse? Mouse, you're basically playing the role of a high roller, right? With your bodyguard droid and everything. Kidding, of course.
What do you say, Mouse? I'm thinking Kin is sticking by your side, so I'm probably just following you around.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really have any social skills to social engineer things.
Yeah.
Would you be open to suggestion if Jax were to kind of be like, hey, you guys, like, come talk to this person with me?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Like, I'm honestly like more interested in just following other people around.
Cool. So Jax he wants to approach this person, but because Jax knows he's not the best social talker, and when he does, he's probably better off threatening someone. Having a big scary droid with him might help in that instance. So I'll motion to Mouse and Kin to like come over with me, and I'll approach the Grand.
Cool.
Okay. So you approach the Grand, who's now kind of probably like meandered over and like is just kind of like standing at one of the dice tables, right? and probably like begins like cheering for somebody who won, and like turns around to leave and kind of sees you approaching him, and you know there's no like smile, right? No visible signs, but probably just like raises a hand to greet you as you approach, and you could tell like he's the Gren has like this translator, right, so you can hear him, and it comes across as pretty formal. It says, "Greetings, human. How may I be of assistance? You look as though you're looking for something."
I am indeed, but is there somewhere where we could talk a bit more private?
Absolutely. I have access to one of the restaurant booths. Follow me this way. And it's like that weird, like, you know, translated version where like he probably talks for a little extra few seconds after that, but it doesn't actually come across.
Yeah.
And he begins to lead you through to like the restaurant portion of the casino, and like the other two follow you, and while you're doing that, I think like turns to Mouse, and probably says to you, "You have a lovely shade of skin, female Deveronian."
Thanks.
You are most welcome.
It's usually covered in oil, but, you know, whatever.
Perhaps that is why it shines so brightly in the dim light.
Oh my gosh.
He's a charmer. Oh my god.
Do you just like facepalm and like put kin in between the two of you?
I'm more just awkward about this because I don't usually get compliments about my appearance.
You're right, yeah, sure, absolutely. And probably then, as well as you're walking over there, it says, "Human male, that coat on you looks very luxurious. I can see why a man of your repute would wear it around town."
Jack's not really knowing how to do a situation that just does what comes most naturally, and he just doesn't say anything and nods as if like accepting what he says, but also knowing it already.
Right.
Trying to come across like cocky and arrogant, but actually just not really knowing what else to do.
Yeah, just kind of like, yeah, sure. So eventually you get over to the restaurant, and he like kind of offers for you all to sit down in the booth, and then sits down as well. And he says, "So, on to business. What is it that you wish to ask of me?"
I was wondering if you could point me in the right direction of someone who might be able to arrange a private meeting between me and Lucia Janice.
"Oh, the owner of this establishment. She is quite a handsome human female, from what I am told. I have never seen her directly in person, although I am told she visits the floor a few times a night. Perhaps if you are lucky, you may see her."
But you couldn't point her out to me?
She is very distinctive. I think that, well, at least her, and he like gives you a description, the same description that I gave you before, like medium long brunette hair, slightly paler skin for a human, and I think notably he says that she always is wearing like some sort of furs, and always has this hat with that feather in it, right? Like those are the distinctive things that she wears.
And a necklace?
Yes, and a necklace. Yes, he does mention that as well. But yeah, it seems like he doesn't work for her directly, so he's just trying to be polite and like telling you.
I was kind of hoping that he maybe had some arrangement with her that let him operate in the casino, but
no, you kind of get the impression he may be doing this kind of his own volition, which is obviously very dangerous.
Yeah. So noticing that, I'm gonna kind of. Is there anything else you can say to help me here?
Well, truth be told, I am here for a very selfish mission. I am here attempting to, well, unload some of my goods that my friends and I have recently come into. Unfortunately, they're too large or bulky or of too high a quality to bring inside of the... Oh, now I wouldn't say that. That is simply a matter of perception for some. But if you are interested in perhaps obtaining some delicacies, my friends and I could easily direct you.
What kind of delicacies are we talking about?
Oh,
I don't like the way this is going.
only the purest of delicacies. Coronet made.
We'll think about it.
Is he selling chocolate?
And I think that there's a moment where he's like, chocolate. I have not heard of this term, but perhaps, if that is what you can equate it to.
Wait, can
Hey,
I see some?
guys, I don't know if this is metagaming, but I don't know if this would be a good idea, but maybe you can mention 2 specific initials we saw previously.
Yeah, I mean, you're not there, but yes, that is something that you could mention.
I'm just out of character. I'm just saying maybe you can mention those initials offhand to see how he reacts.
I was getting to it because what I'm trying to work out is if he's not got any ties to Janice, does he have ties to Zulxan? Because they, one of their ways of making money is drug dealing.
Sure is.
So
sorry, I guess we have the same idea. Carry on.
So you wouldn't happen to be moving any of the product it was ZX, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was XZ, but yeah.
XZ.
He goes, oh, so you have partaken before in our delicacies. Well, wonderful. I'd like to let everyone know that we've got a new shipment in.
We're not trying. No, we're not. I'm not looking to partake, but I'm partially here on behalf of your organization, and any assistance you could render would make our job a lot easier.
Oh, interesting. I was not aware that they were sending any others. Well, what can I do for you then?
We're here on behalf of. We don't know I don't remember the Weequay woman's name or if she ever gave it to us.
She did, and now we just don't remember it.
He did. Let me scroll up. It's here somewhere.
Let me see if I have the note.
I think I might have made a note of it. No, I didn't.
Caleb.
Henkar is her name.
Henkar.
Yep,
cool.
Henkar.
Henkar sent us to try and mediate a discussion between your organization and Janice. Any information you can give me regarding when Lucia Janice is most likely to come to the floor, or how she moves around when she's here, would help me set that up.
Okay. Yeah, so I think this is gonna take a check, because I think his response is kind of puzzled. He kind of scratches his chin, and he's like, it is interesting. I was not informed that this was happening. And he needs you to convince him that that's actually what you're here to do.
Cool.
So it's gonna be a hard check, but I'm giving you a blue dice because you name dropped.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll give you a boost dice because you name dropped, and he does obviously recognize that name.
What?
So convincing him here would be charm, negotiate. You're probably not trying to coerce him, right? You're not trying to force him to tell you.
So this is I'm wondering if Kin or Mouse either has a better ability to communicate with him or can do something to help me out here, because
I'm thinking maybe because their organization uses that many droids, that me being there would be a sign of we working together. I mean, yeah.
Maybe. Is there something active that you could do you think, Kin, to help out here? You probably have some remember you were in that mechanic shop for a while. Maybe you have something in your memory banks that would help you out. Maybe you picked up a name or something like that. Or a designation, or I think you being droids are everywhere, right? Just you being there isn't going to be anything. But you had a lot of time, and Mouse, this applies to you as well, right? Like the time that you had at the compound, maybe you found something out that could help you out.
Yeah.
And this could kind of be like a moment maybe we didn't have while we were active there, but if you want to say that you've done it, we can make a roll and see if you actually did. Like a flashback scene almost.
Wouldn't that be a great opportunity to flip a destiny point?
It would also be a great opportunity just to flip a destiny point, yeah. To have a thing that has happened.
I think flipping a destiny point would probably be the best thing here.
Yeah, maybe some of the parts you used when you patched me back together, maybe some of it is recognizable.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. So if you guys want to flip a destiny point, I'll obviously upgrade the check. Because that's a standard application here. Cool. Awesome. So you get a boost dice, you get an upgrade. It's a hard check. I'll give you a secondary boost dice because I like what Kin said about the parts being recognizable.
Cool.
Cool. So yeah, negotiate or charm here. It's up to you which one you want to use.
I've got 2 in charm and 2 in negotiate. But I am a charming lad, innit? So I'm ready when you are.
See, you flash him a smile as you said it. Yeah, go for it.
Damn it! Womp womp.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, and I think there's no tension here in this situation. You're just like trying to convince him about what's going on, right? But you do fail on the charm check. Now, just so you're aware, that just means he can't be charmed. Maybe you could negotiate or coerce him as well. That like with feature dialogue, just so you're aware, it's not completely gone. Your opportunity is not missed. If you have any strain, you can go ahead and remove one, or you could pass a blue dice to the next person that makes a roll on something.
So I was gonna say I'm kind of hoping that someone else will go on, and I'll pass the blue dice on to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, the question is, where would you imagine Dash would be, Jordan?
You were at the bar, as far as I was aware.
Well, the thing is, he kind of was there, so I'm pretty sure would Dash know? I mean, he would pretty much keep an eye on his friends, so would he see them walking to this person and just walking to the stall, to the kitchen, like
yeah, I want to see what happens here first.
I'm thinking that Kin might just, he doesn't really understand the social contract that exists there, and he just lean over the table and say, "Listen, friend, we're on a mission from your boss. We need to get in contact with these people. Let us know what you need or what you know."
So you're gonna try and coerce him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's gonna be a hard check, still a hard check, but you're getting a blue dice from the charm. So like, because he's like, I don't really believe you, but this reinforcement might help. But if you wanted to roll a coercion check, absolutely you could.
Yep. All right.
It's ready when you are.
Yes, Ken, you beautiful robot-y bastard.
Yeah, and so Ken's just leaning over the table, right up in this guy's face. And he kind of holds his hands up and he's like, whoa, friend droid, it is all right. I believe you. Well, I will. And he kind of leans in a little bit closer so he can kind of whisper. And he says, well, it is typically around. He kind of looks at his. He kind of looks at the time. And he says, perhaps a few more hours when Lucia makes her first appearance. I try not to be present when that happens, because there are, well, it's like she can stare through your soul. She looked at me once and I was terrified of it. But yes, a few more hours and she'll be present. But I do know that you might be able to find one of her, well, subordinates walking through, doing inspections of the posts. That would be where I would start if you needed to arrange a meeting. Although, I do not envy you, friend human.
Thanks for this information. It will be very helpful. And I think I'm going to go off and I'm going to try and find Xian with the others.
Okay. So Zian and Dash, you guys are at the bar, right? And as you're sitting there, Dash, you have like probably like a mild drink in your hand, and you're just kind of sipping on it, kind of observing what was going on. Maybe like watching out of the corner of your eye, watching your party members like talk to this guy. And Zian, what are you doing while you're sitting there? Are you just kind of like trying to soak in the crowd? Like what's going on with you?
Well, like I said, I'm trying to find somebody who might be able to get a message out or introduce us to whoever we need to talk to. And so looking for somebody who displays nervous or kind of bored attitudes, because those are gonna be a little less willpower in those people. So I'm trying to find one of those people so I can talk to them first.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that sounds like a check of some sort. Probably, I would say, would it be perception in this instance? Just to kind of identify a person. Yeah, I would say so. Probably perception here. Probably just going to be an average check. I am going to. I'm going to add a black dice though, because you're looking for someone specifically that like works here, and you might find somebody who doesn't. Like that might be like you might just find somebody nervous. Maybe like maybe they're also looking for Janice to talk to her, but to alleviate their debts, not because they need like to report to her. So there you go. It's average with black dice.
Okay.
Perception. Hey, take a couple strain there.
Right.
But you identify. So I think you got 3 successes there. So I'll give you actually 2 options here.
Okay.
Dash probably tells you the story at some point of like the lazy guy at the bailment counter.
Okay.
Right. So there's like laziness guy at the bailment counter. So there's maybe an in there. He's obviously like a lot different than like the droids or the bouncers that are working here. And I think that also you see that there is looks like a probably like a floor manager. If you've never seen like if you've never been in a casino, like the floor manager is kind of the
guy I know who was a floor manager. I know exactly what to look for.
Yeah, but they are like that's like the highest stress job in the casino.
Yeah.
And this guy is like he's like a short kind of rounder human. And he's like very visibly like balding on his head, but he's got like the couple of strands of hair like combed over to kind of like cover up the giant bald spot that you could fit a map on. And he's like in a suit and tie, but like you can tell he's like sweating already, and he's like running around. And he just looks kind of like stressed out, and he's not very attentive to like other things besides doing his job. So he's probably distractible, right? And it probably has a good opportunity as well in it.
I'm gonna go for the floor manager. That sounds exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Could I potentially actually, since I actually know as well what we're looking for, could I potentially go outside for some air?
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that as well if you didn't want to see Zian's or be there for Zian's interaction. Sure.
I mean, technically, we could, what's the word? Divide and conquer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just having a friendly talk with one, like those ruined gums or whatever that guy is. I'm gonna talk with him.
Absolutely. So Zian, you approach the floor manager, and you can see he's kind of like he just like did a shift change and like a money exchange with one of the dice tables. And he's kind of like walking around. He pulls out like a kerchief from his pocket and like dabs his forehead. And he's kind of like looking around, and he kind of folds it up kind of loosely and shoves it back into his pocket as you approach him.
All right. So I'm going to kind of greet him and go in and just say, hello, my companions and I were expected by or not expected, I guess, that needed to meet with was it Lucia, Janice, and I'm I'm trying to do the Jedi hand wave thing, but I'm trying to phrase it properly. So
Yeah,
like,
you do the like we are
we're
here to meet with
expected-
Lucia Janice. We've been
Yeah.
she's been expecting us, right?
yes, yeah, something
Okay.
like that, and it's
Yeah.
so that'll be the influence with the opposed discipline versus discipline, and I will flip a destiny point on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip one back too.
Okay.
So don't bother doing the thing. It is gonna be an average check here, and I'm flipping one because simply there's a chance for this to go very wrong, right? There's a chance for despair here. So I'm gonna flip one as well. It's just I think just average here.
Okay.
I don't.
We'll see if I even get a force point off this too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I'll add the force dice to it, so you can just roll.
Okay, so you just want me to do the skill?
Yeah, just roll the skill. I have the force dice added.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ooh, a decision must be made here.
Yeah, that's gonna be a dark side point.
Yeah,
Greater good and all that jazz.
The easiest one here is fear.
Yeah. Well, no, this is different.
Oh, okay.
This
is not.
This is the influence versus influence is force the target to adopt an emotional state or believe something untrue lasting a round or 5 minutes. So believe something untrue that we're expected by Janice, and to try and get a
you Jedi mind trick your way in there.
Yep.
Cool. So take some strain, and I think the strain is appropriate for the. Well, I gotta kind of tap into.
Yeah.
And I think that when I was talking about fear here, I think that what it is you sense the fear coming off of him, like the fear of doing something wrong, and so you were able to push in that direction of I'm supposed to be here, and the dark side point is he determines that he might be in trouble if he doesn't help you in this moment, right?
So I'm gonna give myself 2 conflict on this. One for the dark side point being used, and 2, forcing somebody to accept something untrue is pretty bad, even if there are good intentions.
Absolutely.
So.
And he goes, "Oh my, I'm so sorry. Please, give me one moment. Let me call somebody to escort you. I just need a drink. Let me just call somebody to escort you up. Follow me. I'll bring you right over. This way." And he kind of trundles off very quickly.
As I try and follow, I grab the comm link. Is Zian here. I've made contact. Please come to, and wherever I'm describing, wherever he seems to be heading to.
Yeah, absolutely. He's heading towards the stairs that lead up to the second level.
Yeah.
To purposely bring you somewhere else, and you all can see that he's being led over there. Now you can choose to go with or choose not to. That's up to you.
I think Jax would choose to go with, and he'd motion Mouse and Kin to kind of come with him.
I feel like Dash would be halfway through the door, and he is like, "Oh, come on," and he walks back in.
Yeah,
Kin would definitely go with.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing you weren't there, Kin.
Maybe.
So the floor manager he gets to the stairs, and it's probably when the rest of you are arriving when he does that, and he turns around and he's like, "Oh my goodness, you all have there's more of you now. Okay. Good. Yeah, you're quite a big droid. That's a big droid. Yep. Do not like the serving droids. They're very small and very easy to deal with. Oh god. Okay. Oh wait.
Yeah,
no,
I agree.
what did
They're
need
pretty
to
small
remember?
and easy to deal with.
And
yeah, Kin is a pretty big droid.
Table 6
Oh,
needed
fraud. Feel the fear.
Table 6 needed what again? It was 2. Yes. Okay.
Water. They need water.
Yeah.
They needed
no
chips.
Water. Squeeze of what was the name of that thing again? Oh god.
Come
I'll remember. It's more important that I do this right
Jaffa fruit.
Chocolate. They need a squeeze of chocolate.
Chocolate.
Okay,
Yeah, and he's like
calm down.
getting more and more stressed out, and like he pulls out his handkerchief and like wipes his whole head down again now.
No, don't do that.
I know a guy who sells chocolate.
Hey, that handkerchief's pretty dirty. You should get a new one.
He's like, yes, no time. You have a meeting, right? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, we have a meeting.
While Mouse is purposely distracting him, Jax is gonna like go next to Zia and just whisper, I think Lucia might be like you.
Mouse is
I
just
kind
trying
of like do a discreet nod, and it's like I felt something earlier.
This is Mouse trying to be friendly and trying to
Yeah, Jax is just
help
seeing a
this guy.
distraction and using it.
Yeah, and by the way, Mouse, it's not helping. Just in case you were curious, like
Yeah, I
he's
know,
just
I
like
know.
more and more stressed out now. He's just like, oh my goodness, I just have to do the thing.
No, it'll be okay. We're fine. Like we got a meeting. Like
Yeah,
just
and
take
this-
a couple of breaths.
Yeah, and this like little short guy, he begins like taking stairs like 2 at a time, right? And like you all are like, oh my god, okay, trying to like get after him. And when he gets to the top, he's like holding his chest and like panting a little bit. He's like, oh god, okay, all right, we made it. Table 72 needed drinks, cloth. Yes, okay, good. All right, I got that. Put that order in. Just a moment. Meeting first though. We got to go to the meeting first. And he begins like
a little bit. Like you breathe easier.
he's like, no time, too much work to do. All right, this way. And he like kind of like begins trotting off again, with his little short legs padding along. And the 5 of you are kind of in pursuit. So that threat from earlier, though, as he gets to a door, and you see him like he pulls out like a little keypad that's been like underneath his shirt, and he kind of like taps it on the door, and it boop, it opens up and opens up. You see a couple of bodyguards who are, well, we see as the audience, right? We see a couple of bodyguards. They kind of look at each other, and they look at like the guy leading the 5 of you, and they just like kind of shake their heads because, you know, this floor manager, he's probably so nervous because he's about like on his last leg here, and so they detect something fishy going on with this with what's going on here. So they see the 5 of you go in, and then like a few moments later we see them kind of like tap their boop, opens up, and they kind of walk in after you. So as soon as the door closes behind the 5 of you, the noise dies down. It's almost completely sealed off from the rest of the casino area. And as you guys are walking through these hallways, your footsteps are kind of echoing a little bit along. You can see that you probably pass by like a couple of doors with like a break room, right? Where there is somebody who's like, you know, maybe like having a, you know, a drink of water and like just conversing with their fellow employees. There's people that are like probably like counting credits in a room, right? Like that typical like crime lord like counting credit machines, or like like running, right? And they're just like counting out credits. You also there's probably like some food service people that are like pushing trays or carts. And like shouting orders down the hallways, like this one has to go to room 36, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. But it's far less hustle and bustle as it is outside. And eventually you get to what appears to be like kind of an ornate service elevator. Like you can see like there's like big kind of like lettering and like designs along the top of the door that leads into the elevator. And you can see that on the lettering, it has big gold letters. It has LJ, right? And like this intricate font. And so you get that kind of that feeling as you all get into the elevator and the doors close, and you can feel yourself going up again to like a higher level. And I think that this is probably the moment where you all get a bad feeling about this, right? Like this is the like everybody has that like something's like there's something real, like we're about to step into it's the you turn the corner and there's a dragon in a lair kind of moment, right?
Hey, Hey everybody, do you ever get that feeling that you get a tingling in the bottom of your spine?
No.
Oh well, not you, Ken. Don't you just hate that feeling?
I know what you mean. And I'm getting it right now.
Oh really? You too, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and the guy's like dabbing his brow with his kerchief again, and he's like, "Oh yes, every day of my life. Such stressful. That's okay. It's a good job. It's a good job. I need it. I need it for the wife. The wife needs the money. The credits. The credits are good. Yep. That's why I'm here. Yep. And then
Dash
no, go ahead.
Dash would look at his drink and kind of like look at it as he kind of also feels this kind of odd sense. They mention a buzz, but it's like he feels like it's alcohol. It's like, I don't know what about you, but I think I'll never try this beverage again. It's kind of like he, for some reason, he gets the feeling of dread, but like he feels like maybe it's just my drink. He doesn't realize.
Yeah, there was something bad in my drink. Like I got a little bit of indigestion from this drink. Yeah.
Jax will reach into his jacket and just like with his fingers like brush the butt of his pistol, just like reassuring himself that it's there, and
absolutely,
not drawing or anything, but just reassuring himself.
Yeah. So
eventually, trying to figure out like a phrase that she could say to like encapsulate this feeling that she's getting. She can't really put her finger on it though.
Zoinks.
Sorry. So eventually, while you all are sensing the impending dread as you approach closer and closer, the elevator ride is pretty short, and we hear the bing of the elevator coming to a halt, and the doors open, and you enter into kind of like a bleach white with like some marble or stone intricate like designs, and you can see they're like, you're in this lobby area and there's a receptionist right there as well, kind of in this lobby area, and you can see there are two doors that lead back into what you anticipate to be like the office area, right? But then like along this long hallway that you're in that kind of stretches to your left and to your right, there are like little pedestals with like sculptures and like a bunch of artwork kind of like dotting the hallway up and down. You can see that there are a couple of like cushioned chairs and couches that are positioned outside as well for like people to wait. And as you all arrive, the floor manager kind of trots up to the woman behind the counter and begins talking to her, kind of leaving you all to just kind of muse about for a moment. And the floor manager's like actively like saying like, you know, oh, these people, you know, they have a meeting, etc., etc. And the receptionist is probably like, you know, running through her data slat or, you know, her terminal, like, you know, they're just having a conversation prior to you guys being let in.
I'm gonna go sit on one of the really comfy chairs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like big and like red and cushioned. And you kind of like sink into it, and you kind of like, you do the thing where you like kind of snuggle up into it, right? You kind of like wiggle around, and it kind of just like absorbs you.
How does this compare to the chair that I sat in at the hotel that one time?
This is leagues and bounds better.
Okay, I'm gonna start like a catalog of the chairs that I've sat in.
Good, yeah, seems good. This is the best chair you've ever sat in.
Okay.
Jax is gonna like look at Mouse comfy in the chair and think to himself like, oh, I sit in one of the chairs, but he also wants to be able to react. So he's having a little like internal monologue where he's kind of viewing what he calls his professionalism over the comfort that Mouse seems to be experiencing.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Ken, are you just like stoically standing next to Mouse?
Yeah.
Ken, you should try this chair. It's amazing.
If you had sensory effects that let you know how comfortable things were.
No, so I'm guessing then Mouse would go out of the chair, and I'm pretty much gonna dump my whole body into it, and I don't know what happens to the chair, but
yeah, it kind of like creaks a little bit under the weight, but it's well made. It doesn't like explode.
All right.
But like when you sit down into it, you are kind of like sucked in a little bit, and like your movement is a little bit restricted in it, Ken.
Yeah. This is not a tactical position.
Well, but it is comfy.
Jax is feeling slightly better about his decision not to sit in the chair.
The king will get back up and just. I do not understand the function of comfort.
I mean, it's like when you get an oil bath, right?
No.
Okay.
We need to get you more oil baths. Like, you're so wound up, Ken.
Yes.
You're so stressed.
You need to install some like straight out of Shadowrun, some like BTSs in Kin's library. Or BTLs, that's what they call them. BTLs, better than lives.
Yeah, better than life.
Yeah. So you can enjoy what these mere humans can.
Meat bags.
Meat bags. Exactly.
We are not far off from those actually existing. VR technology has come a long way.
It's true. It's very true. We are pretty close to BTLs. So, what about you, Zian? Zian and
I'm
Dash
gonna
are the holdouts here.
I'm going to be up close to the floor manager and the receptionist and trying to just be like, standing like, yep, I'm here, I have an appointment, please get on with this. But at the same time, like, trying to listen in and see if I might need to prod anything in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, cool. So as they're talking, like, the floor manager's like, no, don't you know who this is? Like, they need to be let in right away. They're already late. I'm sorry, that's my fault. Like, I'll try to be better next time, like he's like out there like swinging for the fences for you, right? And the woman behind the counter is like, I don't see anything on the schedule. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on. Maybe we should, maybe if we compare schedules, maybe I got the wrong calendar. Like, here, let me check. Like, like she's doing like, I mean, like, yeah, I believe you. Like, you're a respectable, usually, coherent person. Yeah.
If someone would walk up and say it wasn't on the schedule per se, kind of like hinting like this wasn't as like routine, would that be a lie or a charm?
I mean,
or maybe me trying to charm the receptionist into.
I think it's like I think it's a deception, because it would be, the implication is it wasn't on the schedule, but we're still supposed to be allowed in there when that second part isn't true.
Can I try? No, wait, I'm not that good with cunning.
Well, I was actually going to mention, so like, if you go to influence the situation, there's a moment, like, maybe Zian, maybe you see the same too, like, maybe you need to step in and do some trickery again. And I think that as maybe the two of you like prepare to step forward, a little intercom goes off, and you hear probably a bit of a deeper, more masculine voice than you were expecting, but it carries that kind of melodious tones on its ring. It's very clear and concise, and it says, "You can let them in. I have nothing going on."
Oh. Okay.
And like, you get that moment of like nobody made a phone call, nobody said anything. Like, maybe you like look around for cameras and you don't really see any.
Yeah, my spine's doing that tingly thing again.
I mean, I don't know. Dash kind of like after seeing it, he's kind of like, well, that was convenient. As he looks at Zian, as I'm pretty sure he I'm guessing that we both noticed like we're gonna try and lean this to our direction, and it's kind of like I look at him and then just says, "Huh, that was lucky." He sounds
Zian,
out loud.
I know you know what to say here.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna say what you're expecting, but it's like there's no such thing as luck.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're supposed to say. Right? Yeah. There's no such thing as luck. Right? That's the term. That's the phrase.
Okay.
And as that voice kind of like rings out through the hallways, you see the two of them, and for the first time, this guy has shut up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, he's just like he's kind of like standing there. His eyes go wide, and even the receptionist, her eyes kind of arches an eyebrow, and then she kind of like looks at you, and she says, "Oh, it seems you are expected. You may proceed in. Good luck." And she like pushes a button on the counter, and you hear the doors on either side kind of unlock.
I turn to the floor manager and like shake his hand, put my hand on his shoulder, and say, "Thank you for your help, and we'll see what happens with this." Nope, nothing happens with that.
Nope. Yeah, he's just like, just happy to have done it in a reasonable manner. Now I really must get back to work. I'm sorry, I have so many things to do. I'm so late now. Bye. And he just like runs away and back towards the elevator.
That guy was nice.
Damn it, Darkseid, why do you have to be there?
I think you've like only ever rolled like one light side ever.
I have. It's really frustrating.
Man. It's like I know it's skewed to dark side, but not that much, man. Like not as much as you get it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm going to the next force point as quick as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the group of you, I assume, then proceed through the doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So as you enter in, the room that you enter into is about as different from the rest of the casino as it possibly could be. There are it can only be described as almost somewhat Victorian in its design. There are the two doors that enter, and then a big, very wide hallway with these kind of like black marble-looking pillars that kind of raise up and support the roof. And then these curved kind of archways that kind of come down and intersect with those. You can see that there appear to be a sort of these sculptures and stuff kind of on either side, and it's just kind of a big long hallway that leads up to a raised platform where there's a set of stairs that come up and then a set of stairs that circle around, and then you can see a very large, what can only be described as a throne, that is sitting kind of with the backdrop of these windows. And these windows themselves, they actually they appear to imitate natural light. In addition, when you look at them, the exterior, what is outside of them, is not coronet. It's not like the windows that display the outside. They're clearly like maybe images that are imposed on the windows to make it look like somewhere else. And sitting in this chair, you can see this woman in her kind of blue tunic with her brown leather jacket with the furs around the collar, her hat with her feather in it, and laying kind of below her at her feet, you see these two very large canine-like animals that are kind of sitting there. One of them appears to have like a bone and is like kind of gnawing on it, and the other one appears to be sleeping, but they both kind of like raise their heads and look at you as you come in.
Can you be even more?
I'll show you exactly what it looks like. I mean, I can just show you what it looks like. How's that sound?
It could be like a roaring fireplace too.
She's also stroking a cat, apparently.
No cats. No cats. She's a dog person.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a dog person.
It's either the cat or the two dogs. Give your pick, villain. I mean,
yeah.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, as you kind of enter in, you see this scene laid out before you. And she doesn't